Zion Williamson. He is supposed to be reevaluated again this upcoming week. It sounds as if he might finally return. I don't really know how much we can predict here, Chris, but I guess what I will say is I thought that the Pelicans played really well against Golden State the other night. I think that they are back to playing good basketball. Brandon Ingram has been great in February and March. He's been basically 50, 40, 88 since February 1st, averaging 27 or so points per game. That is the all-star killer version of him that we expected that he wasn't when he was dealing with the toe early on. And I feel good about this team. I think they're a top 10 defense on the season as well. If Zion can come back,
I'll pull it up and check you.
I think that they will be a factor in the play and a team that I would probably pick over the Thunder if you're telling me Zion can play 25 minutes, 30 minutes a night and be close to something resembling himself. I think I would pick them to win that game.
Yeah, 6 in defense. Cleaning the glass has this metric that tells you like what your win difference based on your point differential, and they're 28th. Like they should have 4 more wins based on what their point differential is, because they're 9th in point differential on the season still, which is impressive. It's still, to me though, Brendon, just feels like kind of disappointing. And like Zion getting back would be great. I'm all for that. I think that would be really fun and good to see. The thing that is just a bummer is that it feels like this season could have been more for them. The season just still feels to me like it could have been like a real ascendant season. Like there's probably another universe where like they have the kind of the ascendant that you're the Kings at, and are like up in the top near the East or the West, and being very celebrated and having all these euphoric moments, and like you're just not gonna get that with them. And would you pick, like, if they were to be the 8th seed? Like they're not going to beat Denver. I don't think
even
they're going to beat Denver.
Even with Zion,
even with Zion back, they're not going to beat Denver.
Look, I mean, I don't know if I would have picked them. Maybe, yeah. I mean, look, what I was going to say is it kind of reminds me of. I hope it doesn't end up this way, but it kind of reminds me of the season that Minnesota had after the Jimmy Butler trade. If you remember, they were like up in the top 4 for half the year. Then they dealt with injuries. I think they took 1 game from Houston in that first round series, and then Butler doesn't ever play there again. There wasn't a trade in this case, but you could see change having to come just because you can't wait on health forever. You can't keep your team the same saying, well, if this and if that will just be great. They have these tax concerns coming up and all this stuff. This is sort of the season. And like you said, I think that's where a lot of the disappointment comes from, is it just wasn't able to click. And now you're talking about, can he play the final weekend of the regular season and then be amazing in the play-in game? Like it might just be what Zion's career is, but that doesn't mean you have to feel great about it, if you're evaluating and analyzing them. And yeah, it's insane that they're 9th in net rating. That doesn't make any sense at all. This has been a dumb season, to be completely honest. It's not even an insult to them, but like what is happening in the NBA if the regular season ends up with a team that loses in the play-in being top 10 in net rating? That doesn't really add up. But yeah, I hope he plays. He's one of my absolute favorite players to watch. He's on my wall behind me, but it's hard to feel anything close to certainty about any of this right now, including what happens this summer.